Hello and welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. And our dropship is coming along ever so smoothly. Probably about 3/4 of it has been put together by our automatic little nano machines. The hangar bay, which will just enough room to fit my mining ship in the back. Although I haven't put in all of the bits of... we're going to put some refineries back here, some assemblers. We're going to make this into a mobile base. But, first thing we need to talk about is we'll just look off into the sunrise for the moment because, seemingly my videos are exploding. I originally started this Space Engineers playthrough as just something for me to do for fun, because I like Space Engineers. But over the past, say, about 3 or 4 days, my videos, for some silly reason, have been getting like thousands of views, where I was expecting them to get a few hundred. So, welcome. There's way more people out here than I thought there was going to be. Even to the point where the guy, okay, where's my programmable block? If we look at the programmable block in the scripts, there's all of Izzy's scripts. Izzy himself commented on my videos, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm fangirling so hard right now. Essentially, for some reason, YouTube's algorithm said, hey, people like Space Engineers, and this guy's making Space Engineers, so let's just put that out there as a bunch of recommended, and then people are running into my videos. Also, I think what happened was the most one that I'm getting, the most videos, oh my god, it's completely destroyed, was the nickel mining pit. That automatic mining video got so many views from people being like, how do I do this on a planet? And I think that's where it just got started. And then from there, it just went crazy. So I actually don't think this was destroyed. It was probably unpowered. And then when I went away from it, it got automatically cleaned up and got deleted. So unfortunately, a couple things are getting deleted because they're being damaged by the marauding drones. But yeah, so I just wanted to recap that. There is a few more people here than I expected, so I'm getting a lot of requests for putting things like the dropship and my truck and stuff like that on the workshop. I will get those on the workshop as soon as I can. I'm going to clean them up, make sure that the dropship's not done, because we're actually going to do some fun stuff with it today. But once it's all functional, I will make sure to get things onto the workshop as fast as I can, and also try to answer as many comments as possible, because there is literally hundreds more than I expect. So I'm doing my best here. But this is sort of the slightly going viral sort of thing, and I'm just having to adapt. But anyway, we are moving along with our nanite facility. This thing is wonderful, as it is building the rest of our dropship. So it is actually funny because I think I've gone through basically every single steel plate in the entire base. I had like tens of thousands of these, and now I just have like 4,000, and that's it. So I've actually tasked the assemblers to make me a good couple thousand more, because I'm going to be running out of them while building this dropship. Also, we've got 83 more field emitters to create, as that is the last that is needed in order to get the shield on the dropship. Also, to get rid of steel plate there, I have gone back to Mars and stuff like that, so I do have some more platinum as in is being processed. Now I could go and slap some of yield modules on these to get more platinum out of it, but I have enough at the moment to get it done. So whatever, I'll have enough to get this thing done and get it into space, and then when I get to Mars and I set up a more permanent base there, then I'll make whatever platinum I get in the future to be more high yield. So for now, it functions. So we're going to clear our bar, as we're going to do some fun things with programmable blocks and some rotors, because I want to do a rotor turret on the thing here. We'll put Gatling guns for now. We'll build it with that. So this thing is building up, and I'm contemplating where I want to put this rotor turret. I'm thinking having it on the roof might be kind of nice. We've got this Gatling gun here, when it's connected up to the bottom with a conveyor, so that's one conveyor spot. There also is another spot that I could make into a conveyor about here. So if I look inside, if we look up, there's a conveyor junction right there, and that is right, I think it's this one right here. Yeah, we can get access to a conveyor junction there. The blueprint is there, but we could put a conveyor here, right in this hole, and then get another turret here. I'm just all deciding where it should be. Alternatively, very soon, there is going to be space along the side here, as these are missile turrets that, of course, I don't have the platinum and such and extra platinum to build the actual missiles yet. So I might take these missile turrets, and once they get out to that point, turn them into these rotor turrets instead. But let's just play with this for a little bit. Let's try building a rotor turret on top. We can see how it functions, we can see what it's like, and then get it going. Alright, this is already starting to rebuild this. Go. There we go. We put that in there, we start building up the junction, then it won't rebuild there. So, good. We got another conveyor junction on top. So what we can do is we can plop down an advanced rotor, put that on top, and we're going to need a programmable block. So let's just plop this down on the roof here. This is all for experimentation today. We're just figuring out how we want to design it, and then I'll eventually, once we've had things designed, put it onto the side of the ship. Also, I don't think I need to grab anything, because as long as I leave them sort of unwelded, the nanites will eventually come over and fix them up. But let's just get the programmable block, because there's two different options we have for this. If we go into the edit in our scripts, there is two turret options. There's a mouse-controlled script, and there's an AI turret slaving script. So the mouse-controlled one, I want to remember changes, no thank you, would be as if I had a control panel of some kind, say like a control station or a flight seat or a cockpit or anything, and if I was sitting in this, as I aimed my mouse, the turret would automatically move to go to where I'm aiming, which could be very useful, so that way I can manually aim a couple high-powered turrets. Alternatively, the AI slaver will be for automatically shoot the turret towards where an AI turret is shooting already. So we can use any kind of turret for this. Probably be something small and inconspicuous that we can sort of stick on the front, like an interior turret, and then wherever this interior turret was aiming, this big turret would aim as well. However, there is a turret as part of one of the mods I have, which I believe it is not the Maplex. This is Occam Industries stuff. It is there's observation turret and there's a designator turret. And very specifically, the script needs a turret that is named designator for this to work. So this fact that this is called a designator turret means it already has the name in it to be properly set up as a turret. So it's great. So what we can do if we wanted to, just for testing, we can slap this down right here. Don't think I have enough to weld it up, but eventually, nanites, get on it, fix it up for me. And whatever this designator turret looks at, this rotor turret will look at it as well. And we'll give that a try in a minute here. But what I want to do is use a combination of small and large grids at the same time. This is a large grid advanced rotor, and this is a large grid rotor part. However, I can get rid of the part, and I can go into my control panel here. I can go to that advanced rotor, and I can add a small head. And if I look now, we can see it's got a small rotor part on it. The benefit of that is what we can do now is, instead of doing large grid, it's small grid. And that is good because Gatling guns don't have a large grid version, but they have a small grid version. So we're using this to make a Gatling gun turret that transitions the border between large and small grids. It's going to be wonderful. So the idea is that this is going to be our left and right. So let's just get this set up in the code a little bit ahead of time. Exit, we're going to go browse scripts, and for turret, we're going to go first off with the AI slaving script. We're going to copy that to editor, and if we read through that, we see that we need the setup here. Here we go. We need a turret group with everything that's in part of it with an ID tag, so we can just call it turret group 1 for testing. And each group must have a designator, which will be our designator turret, an azimuthal or horizontal with azimuth, so that's the one we already have, and then one or more elevation models, elevation rotors with elevation in its name, and then a weapon. And he has to all be put into a group and saved as that group for this thing to function. So we need to call this one that we already have azimuth, and then anything we add after that, elevation. So this is fine. We're going to go to that advanced rotor, and we're going to add it, let's see, turret azimuth. And I believe I spelled that correct. So because it has the azimuth in its name, it will find it with the group eventually when we put that group together. Next thing would be to add a conveyor junction. As we want to transfer materials, we're going to need a large to a large, like that. Large to large. And then another advanced rotor, because we want the materials to travel from storage through this and into here. And you can see we're putting large towards this, but then smalls forward. And the reason why we're doing small forward is that that is what we're going to attach our guns to. So we'll flip that around, place a gun there. Oh, and the thing swings down because it has no power yet. It's just a loose hinge. We also need to put a small conveyor there. Okay, so that is everything we need technically to make this thing functional. So let's get this all named up here. We've got more advanced rotor. This one's incomplete. This one is going to be turret. What was the name? Azimuth, and my brain is not functioning. What the other name was? Turret AI slaving would be elevation. All right. Advanced. Incomplete turret elevation 1. Alright, so now we need that Gatling gun. We need the advanced rotors, and I'm holding control click to select multiple things here. We need the designator unit, and we'll save this all into turret group 1. Just for testing. So that should have everything we need. And these just need to be built up yet, but if we look at this thing, 1 rotor turret group found. Excellent. That should be no elevation rotors found. That's because elevation rotor is not complete yet. So let's go get some pieces for that, just so that we can get it done. And also, I have this connected to the base, right? So I should be able to pull from these turrets for materials, right? Huh, things aren't flowing through. I probably have to set things up a little bit better to make sure everything's connected. But we'll... Right, that one is the mining drop-off. We'll just grab a bunch of stuff, and we'll head back and get this thing set up here. So we don't need to worry about those yet. That's set up. I need some grids for the Gatling gun. Grab some things to build some guns. And what should occur is things should start functioning, hopefully. You are working. Now, let's see. We have a turret group found, no elevation rotors. Did I spell elevation wrong? I certainly did, because I'm an idiot. This is why. Elevation. There we go. And now when we look at this, when this refreshes in a second, there we go. Average complexity there. 1 turret group found. And no errors back here. Hopefully, what we should be able to do is if we take control of that designator unit, and we look around, look at the turret. We can see it's automatically moving, and it's following my designator unit. So whatever this designator unit points at, that turret will point at as well. Look how snappy it is too. Oh my god, this is great. Alright, so that's option 1. We can do that with a designator turret. Downsides of this is if this designator turret was capable of seeing a ship, say, slightly below this horizon, and the big turret tried to shoot at it, it could technically shoot the designator turret itself, or it could shoot the top of the ship, and it would cause damage to its own ship. So, when it comes to where this turret should be, I'm thinking best thing might be to even just, if I can... Oh, it's only got a large grid version. I was going to want to put it right on top of this thing. What other turrets are available? Because we could, technically... Interior turrets. Doesn't have something there. More turrets. Let's see, this flak turret has a small grid version. These are all large grid. This Sea-Wiz turret has a small grid version. You could technically put a turret on top of this, like this, and then whatever it shoots at, the Gatling guns will assist with it. So let me just name that turret. We've got turret group 1. We need to add in that machine gun turret into group 1, and we need to call this designator in order for this to work. And then this should update here. Yep, 1 rotor turret slaved group. And if we go and we get that turret and we take control of it, as we move around, whoa, this is fun. We have the turret following us. So if we aim over there, and we get out, yeah, the turret is following it. So as the AI is shooting that turret, it is essentially getting assisted by having these turrets shoot at it as well. So it's just massively increasing the firepower of our individual turret here. The other option is to have this mouse slaved. So we can go into here, we can leave this as is, and we can go into browse and go back to turret and go, whoops, mouse slave script. So the difference here is, let's see, the setup script. You need to place the script in the block, set up the mouse rotor script, turret groups with the same thing, azimuth, elevation, everything should be good, and then we just need to bundle in this control group, I believe, one cockpit into it. Yeah, so this is fine. We'll go browse, turret, mouse, aimed, copy editor, okay. Then, with our turret group, we will add in that control seat. That is a flight seat that I added. Ooh, which one is it? This particular flight seat is flight seat turret, and that way we can actually have like a turret control, which would be pretty awesome. And then from there we've got the turret group, and we can add in the flight seat turret. Now what should happen is may not function considering the entirety of the base, because the thing's not disconnected. But essentially, as you move your mouse around like this, the turret will move to follow it. But I'm not sure if I want to do that, because then it means I have to man the turret, and then I'm not flying. So I think what I probably will do is stick with the AI designator, and then the real question is just with what thing do I want on top of it. And with that, yeah, I think this will be functional. I think this will be really functional. No marked groups found. Let's fix that. So group, oh, I need to tag it with that. That's why it's not working. I need to tag the turret group with marked. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now, oh, we can see it there. It's hard to see because it's so far in the distance. It's because I can't zoom in at the base, but you can see it moving, right? It's right in the center. Oh, there we go. We can look at it this way. So now I'm controlling this with my mouse. So this is great if you want to have like a single base turret, and you want to be able to have, say, it's like a multi-crew ship. If you have a couple of these on the sides of the ship, and you have a pilot, and you have different people manning it, setting up individual rotor-based mouse turrets, incredible amount of firepower you can put out. They are awesome, because this, you can put on as many Gatling guns as you want. This is just one here. I could put on dozens of Gatling guns, and they could all be facing towards the target, and you're all shooting them with high accuracy. So I want that. I want that very badly, the amount of firepower that could do. But considering the fact that this playthrough is going to be solo, and I'm going to be alone here, we're going to stick with the automatic turret slaving one. So we're going to copy to edit, and we're going to go there. And then for our turret group mart, we don't need that one. We just need turret group, and we can take the flight seat out of that group because it's not required right now. So it should have, yep, one rotor turret group found, and then again, as this turret tracks stuff, this turret will automatically assist in its firepower. And again, this could have the issue where, because that one is higher up, I could say be below the horizon here, and that could shoot at it. But then the Gatling turrets here would be shooting my own ship. So I got to be careful with this, however I want to set it up. But more than likely, I think I'm going to put a version of this turret on the sides here for now, as these missile turrets simply won't have as much, like, I just won't have the stuff to make ammo for them. Alternatively, I could shuffle this forward essentially till it's at a position where it has no issues with clearance, or I could position it so far back here I could put it in this Gatling turret spot such that there won't be an issue with clearance out front. It'll just be like a top thing. Also, something we could do is we can limit these rotors so that they don't rotate too far. With the advanced rotors, let's see, that advanced rotor azimuth. The advanced rotor elevation is currently at 198. So if we look at this, it is currently at 198, which would be where it's facing straight forward, right? Yeah, so that's where it is straight forward. So say I'm not going to let it go below, I don't know, let's just make it so it only shoots things that are above us. Let's make it not go past 180. So let's go into here, go to advanced turret elevation, and we'll set our upper limit to be 180 and lower limit to say be negative 180. And what that hopefully will do is let me quickly put the mouse control back on so we can experiment with this. Copy to editor, okay, and then turret group. We'll add Mart to that. Oh yeah, and I need to add the turret thing back in. Mart, flight T turret, save. Okay, good. What we should be able to do, okay, so it can't go past there. So right there, you can see it's trying to go lower. I'm trying to make it go lower, but I can't. So even if the turret was attempting to aim downwards, then this thing wouldn't be able to do that. So 180, and then let's make it say not be able to shoot up. So elevation, instead of going negative 180, let's make this 90. Right? Oh, 90 is below it. Okay. So we need to make that, instead of 180, I think that's 270. Elevation. Right? That'll be 270 if I'm not mistaken. We'll make this one 180 and this one 270-ish. So now it can aim up until it's aiming straight up, and it can aim down to here. And then that way, that's its only range of motion, and the turret will follow the AI through that, but it won't shoot down at our own ship and cause issues. Now it could shoot this way at our own ship and shoot the tails off our ship, but more than likely I'm going to have my front towards the enemy, so this is going to be okay. But yeah, you can set those limits up to prevent things like that, so that you wouldn't have any issues with things getting shot off. 270, maybe 269, because it's getting kind of glitchy when I get up there right at the top where it was bouncing back and forth. But yeah, there we go. Oh, that's nice and smooth, and it can't go past there. And then I can do the same on the other arm. So we'll put on another advanced rotor and another set of conveyors. And get that welded up. Then quite easily in the same group, we can just call that advanced rotor turret elevation 2, and then get it into that turret group. And also we'll get into the AI slaving group for later. And now it should follow if things were correct. Nope. Come on. Maybe I have to add a weapon to it. I need conveyor junction materials. And we should be good. Slap that on. We need another Gatling gun, so we'll get the Gatling on there. And get these welded up. And hopefully that should work now. Nope. Okay. Why are you not functioning? This is where the elevation is spelled correctly. It is in the turret mark group with elevation 1 and 2. Let's just, if all else fails, check here. Elevation rotors 2, main elevation 1 is number 1. That is correct. It's a mouse aim turret. Why is this not functioning? Well, we'll toggle this off and on again. We'll recompile the script and run it. Why are you not grabbing that turret? Strange. Let's take the upper and lower limits off this thing. Maybe that's having an issue. No, that still functions. Huh. I don't know why this thing isn't functioning. I'll have to figure that out off camera. But this is the idea of the turrets. So we'll have that, and then we can coat these in armor as well, because it doesn't have to be looking like an ugly thing. We can coat some armor on this, and we can make it so that that is a little bit harder to get shot off. Also, because this is a turret, we could add, say, it's a rotor here and not a actual turret. Turrets have this sort of 1 block radius around them for clearance. So if I wanted to put small half blocks here right up against the turret to sort of act as a, you know, a little bit of a shield, I can't, but I can do it like this if I move these things properly. But I can add like a little shield around it to sort of build it up, which would be kind of cool. Also, what I could do is, the downside is that when this aims directly at whatever this turret is aiming at, these things will be a little bit spread because these arms are off to the side, right? Well, what we could do is we can move these things in by using these small conveyors, and I could go like this and move out in front of this thing. I would have to even further restrict my up and down motion, but then I can put my Gatling guns right in the center practically. So it would be more accurate to what I'm actually seeing is where I would be shooting my Gatling guns. So yeah, there is a lot of stuff I can do with this. I will figure out the perfect design for this and get it all done up off camera. And what I think I'll do is add a few of these to this ship, because these normal turrets are good. However, I think I can kick a lot more ass if I design my own turrets for this ship. So I want to design some really good ones, some ones that maybe aren't sticking out this far, maybe nice and flush to the actual ship itself, and see if I can install them in various places, because maybe even a perfect place for them would be like on this wing here. Instead of this thing, have that rotor turret there. We shall see where they go. But ooh, missile turret was created, although I don't think this thing's going to have any missile ammo, so we look for missile. It requires platinum and uranium, which we don't want to spend, although it's not that much platinum. It's only 0.01, so a tiny amount, and a tiny amount of uranium as well. So technically we could make a missile turret, missiles to put in this turret. We shall see. But the base is all this Leopard dropship is almost complete. I'm so excited. Ah. Okay, what I think I'm gonna do is, instead of this one being so high like this off the thing, I wonder if I could bury this turret down a little bit. Oh, we got the dropship. Hunchback dropship coming in. Essentially, okay, let's play with that for now. We're just gonna play with turrets all day today. That is our goal. We'll get all this stuff ground down, and thankfully we have some depositing ability there. And we will sink this rotor one deeper. So we want this rotor to be essentially flush with the terrain. And let's just cut into this armor block so we have access to that advanced rotor. We can get it welded up. And then again, we will take this rotor part off and we will add a small part. So add advanced rotor, add small head, and then we'll get that welded in. So now, we're a little bit low here. So what we need to do is we need to bring this up by one block, probably. So we'll do that. Or even what we could do is use these conveyor frames. Just get like a couple frames up, and that should get us above the plane here. I wonder, do I just need two, or can I get away with one? If I put one there, can I move to the side? Oh, I can. Look how tight that is to the ground there. Ooh, that's beautiful. Because essentially, the other idea I had was to make this a pretty buried gun, and to have essentially almost no up and down lift, and the gun can only raise a little bit for it. And with that, we might not even be able to do this with smalls. I don't know. Depends what weapons we want to use, because there's a bunch of fixed machine guns and burst cannons and assault cannons and stuff like that we can get as well, because these guns are pretty cool. So maybe what we want to do is we'll do a conveyor junction here facing off to the sides. Then we'll do our advanced rotors, and then big old fixed cannons on the side of this, like so, from this Oki's weapon pack, which this is gonna that'll take a while to get welded up. What have you got in your connector here, dude? Let's get some stuff for conveyors and for rotors, and that should be good. We'll get these welded up. And we'll rebuild this conveyor frame. Probably not that required, but we'll redo this with the mouse script here. Now, I will obviously have to lift this thing a little bit higher if I want more clearance, but essentially what I could do is make this thing like a very low down and more of like a battleship cannon type thing rather than a turret, if that's sense. And then put a turret on top of some kind. Even just a standard Gatling can fit on top to be the aimer for it. So yeah, there's different designs and different ways I could make this turret, and I will be experimenting with that off camera and getting it absolutely wonderful in every which way before we commit to this ship and setting up how I want it to. But that's going to go into parts of the internals of this thing, because now that the back of this is pretty much designed, and I think I'm going to I need interior plates. I'm gonna keep the idea of the junction being there. I don't want the it to fill out with armor. I want this to be an option in the future. To be a turret, or even just to be a place to dock a ship that I maybe don't want to fly into the hangar every single time. I can just dock something there. So we'll get rid of the flight seat. And we'll get rid of the programming block for now, as the majority of this ship is actually almost complete. It's just finishing the nose cone off, which is absolutely excellent. You can see we've got the junctions through to here, but I haven't designed how I want to fit everything into the ship yet, as just haven't gotten there yet. These piles of conveyors here are all for piping up the various engines, so those kind of need to stay. Also, it's for piping up these turrets on the wings, so these engines are essentially, these engine pods are done. I can't really do anything with those to improve those. But what we can do is think about where we're going to put some interior stuff here. So I thought that that hydrogen tank being nice and centralized was a good thing. We want to have a little bit of backup hydrogen, and in case we, one, we run out of ice, or two, we have our... probably we're not going to have enough H2O2s on this ship in order to manage its sort of peak hydrogen load when it's trying to accelerate very hard off of the planet's surface and try to break orbit. So because it's not going to have the ability to create enough hydrogen to sustain itself, it's going to need that hydrogen out of the tank, and then once it gets back into orbit and it's not using as much hydrogen in that second, the tank will refill, and we'll have that as a backup. So that is good. Next things we need is we're going to need to fit in all of the rest of reality here. So we need a refinery, at least a refinery, and we're going to choose... I'm questioning here between basic and normal refinery, because basic is limited types of ores into ingots. It can't do the fancy stuff like uranium. But do I need a full refinery on my dropship, which is more or less going to just be my ability to haul some cargo around and haul some equipment around from place to place? Do I need a full refinery? Probably. I'm not sure. But I'm thinking a good position there. We have the bottom left is a connector. Also the bottom right is a connector. So if we plunk it right there, it'll connect up to the edge of that thruster, and also give us space right here in the back to cover it with various upgrades. So can we... Oh, not enough steel plate and storage. Okay, good. This is, I can access the base storage from right here. Also, while we're here, we should do our hydrogen bottles. Oh wait, can I not put stuff in there? Oh, strange. Okay, let's just go get our hydrogen bottles refilled, because I'm going to be floating around a little bit here. H2, get my hydrogen bottles in, and get them back. Excellent. And I know somebody was saying, why are you carrying your oxygen bottles and stuff like that? That's habit. And also, that means that I can just not think about it and just go into space whenever I want to. And in the future, I'm going to be on Mars and the moon and stuff, and I'll just need them anyway, so whatever. So I'm thinking that we can place this here. And we can also place another one, a second one, here. So we'll have some symmetry. So we'll have a pair of refineries that will fit in there quite nicely. How many steel plates do I have on me? 306. Good. More than enough. Then we're going to need probably at least a single assembler. We might not need to assemble many components, but just at least one. We're going to need some batteries. We're going to need some other stuff, like a medical room, although I'm not sure where I want to put that. We might even... limited refining. Yeah, we probably want a medical room somewhere. Although, where to put it is a very good question. I don't think it should be in our main hangar here. Oh, if I can position this thing correctly, there we go. Because we don't want to be exposed to space in case I respawn and then I'm in the vacuum of space and slowly dying. We'll grab things for this, which at least an internal, yeah, interior plate. What I think should be done is it should be somehow incorporated into the upper area. So if you come through this doorway, it leads into this vertical shaft, which I could put an elevator or a ladder in here, but I'm just having this as something you just jet back up. And it vertical shafts right up to the flight seat, which is where you'll be sitting when you're obviously flying the ship. I think I might want to somehow build that thing into this room so that it's like right there. It's tucking into that area. And then we can pipe it in from the bottom. So, the unfortunate part is that's the roof there. Oh, it's not going to fit. So I'm not sure if it's going to be able to fit up here. I have a couple conveyor ports and parts, and they could maybe put like a cryo chamber here for people to sleep in and stuff as we're on long flights. But I kind of wish the medical room was smaller. If they had like a 1-block medical room, would be absolutely amazing. But whatever. We can do what we can here. Alternatively, I can add another doorway, essentially right through here, and allow you to get access to this area. I was contemplating having these areas sort of like blocked off so you couldn't access them, because then, you know, they're more like utility storage areas. We don't need to have those zones accessible. But then, yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to redesign this thing, as that's what I'm doing constantly, is constantly redesigning this. Alternatively, we could get rid of this passageway here if we wanted to, and instead of having it so that you go in and you go straight up, we could maybe have a second story that you get out on, or you could pass through and then you could choose to go up, or you could choose to be in sort of like a little lobby medical room down here. But somehow I gotta design this, and once I'm done putting in all of the internals, I will make a blueprint of this for sure. Also, there's the different upgrades, modules we definitely want for this ship, because it's going to be a ship and it's actually not going to have that much power generation. It's essentially going to run on batteries. Is we want power efficiency. We want power efficiency really bad, but I also don't want to do that yet, because then I won't lose access to back here, and I want to tuck things in here. I can probably put, say, assemblers back here and coat them with a fair amount of upgrades as well, although this is light armor blocks that lead to the outside, if I'm not mistaken, so we won't be able to do all of the upgrades, but we could probably do majority of them. So we'll have to plan it all in, get that all done, get everything all tucked in nicely, and get some advanced rotors turrets on this ship overnight. But that is going to be it for now. The dropship is essentially ready to fly. As soon as the last little bits of armor are done and I fill my hydrogen tank, this thing could take off and go for a flight. However, we're going to leave it connected to the base for a while, because we're going to add a whole bunch of batteries to it. Then we're going to drain the base batteries into this thing, and then get everything ready, transfer the majority of the base's materials to this, get all of our guns fully loaded out with ammunition, maybe even make some missiles if I have leftover platinum, and get our shield finished, which should be just about. If we got 60 more field emitters, so damn close. Yeah. This thing is coming together. But that is going to be it for now. Thanks for everyone for watching, and for everyone that is welcome, just joining my channel because of my Space Engineers videos. I'm glad to have you around, and hope you enjoy the series. But that's it for now, and good hunting.